There are changes at the top of the world's second largest economy. That country's unveiled its leadership team for the next 5 years. Well, say changes, maybe not so many. One man who's not going anywhere is President Xi Jinping. He certainly stays at the helm by the looks of it. Jacqueline Vuga is here to explain what might happen next. Because things haven't quite, the Chinese kind of do things traditionally, but it hasn't quite gone to tradition. This huge, great big party conference that's just wrapped up. Tell us a bit more.
Well, everything's sort of changed at this point. This lineup unveiling has given us a clear glimpse into China's political future, just not in the way that would be expected, not in the traditional manner, as you said. The intrigue comes from the fact that usually in the past, one of the 6 men on the standing committee, apart from Xi himself, now this is the committee that makes all the key decisions, usually one of those men is signaled to be the clear successor to the title of party chair. That's how it worked with Xi, with his predecessor. But this time around, all of the current members were born before the year 1960, which, according to an albeit unwritten retirement rule, means none of them are young enough to take over for him in 2022.
So you could, what's the retirement age? 68, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that, of course, fuels the already rampant speculation that Xi wants to hold on to the title of party chair beyond the usual framework of only 2 terms. Now, the other option, of course, would be him to name a predecessor later on, but all of the experts and all the signs show that that's really not likely to happen.
So it's unusual then that a successor wasn't hinted at here, basically, is the story, yeah?
Absolutely. He's breaking from years of party tradition because while there are laws in place that say he can only serve as president for 2 terms, his other 2 titles, that of the head of the military and the party chair, those 2 don't actually have limits, not written down in law at least. It's just
it could be a future job, maybe.
Exactly, exactly. And that of party chair and the head of the military, those are huge positions, arguably more powerful than that of just president. And it's also important to note that just yesterday, the Communist Party added Xi's name and political ideology to their constitution, which really elevates him to the level of prestige with other heavyweights like Chairman Mao, the founder of the People's Republic of China. So all this really cements Xi's power and his legacy in the country. And while obviously none of us has a crystal ball, we can't look into the future and say what exactly will happen in 5 years, the groundwork being laid really shows that Xi's not fading into the background anytime soon, and he'll continue to, it'll be interesting to see if he continues to stay away from tradition and what that could come in the future, at what kind of cost that could come at.
Yeah, all right, Jackie, thanks for that. Let's get the view from Hong Kong, shall we? We'll go live there. Political analyst and Professor Joseph Cheng's there. Don't know if you're listening into what our correspondent had to say there. Things did depart from the traditional, because normally, as Jackie was saying, we'd normally have a clear idea of who was going to take over from Xi Jinping in 5 years when he has to retire. But there didn't seem to be an obvious person there because they'd all be too old. What was your take on it?
Yes, there are no young members who, by the time of 2022, can still serve for another 10 years in the leadership post. So this means that Xi Jinping may like to have a 3rd term on his own, or he may decide to choose his own successors in the coming 2 or 3 years, or he may even choose to split the leadership positions by 2022, and he may still claim 1 or 2 top positions for himself. It is also obvious that with the retirement of the elderly leaders, Xi Jinping now has a very solid majority support at the Politburo Standing Committee and the Politburo level.
Yeah, I mean, some of his thoughts, his ideas were now written into the Constitution there. That's an idea of how seriously his view on the world is taken. And of course, if you were to criticise that, you'd be kind of criticising the Communist Party itself, wouldn't you? So it's quite a clever move. This guy is really going to go down in the annals of history for China, isn't he?
Yes, he secured the title of being the core of the party leadership a while ago. And as you said, in the Congress just held, his ideas, his policy ideas, the thought of Xi Jinping has now come to share the equal status of Mao Zedong thought, and it will serve as part of the guiding ideology for the party. Apparently, he tries to exploit nationalism and patriotism to strengthen the legitimacy for the party regime. And he appeals to the people's need for strong leadership. Apparently, the campaign against corruption is also quite popular. And he also mentions for the very first time the establishment of a world first-class military.
Yeah, talking very much looking ahead more than just the next 5 years, the next 30 years, wasn't it, as to where China would be in the world, and seeing himself pretty much up there first, China coming first, the big power, the big superpower, the big industrial power, but equally big respected country as well to tackle climate change, etc., etc. Some of the world's problems being tackled as well. So it looks like a bright future under his helm, according to him, then, yeah.
Yes, I think he will seek a bigger say for China in various international organizations, in various international forums. And he understands that people in China expect their leadership to enhance the nation's international status and international influence. And he is expected, and he claims to have delivered in this regard. At the same time, certainly, China has ample fiscal reserves to spend on foreign aid, on the provision of international public goods, very much under the umbrella of the so-called One Belt, One Road initiatives and the establishment of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the Silk Road Fund, and so on.
Good to have your view from Hong Kong there looking on. Professor Joseph Cheng, political analyst, thanks very much. Appreciate it.